So now as I get into the kingship crown now, I start identifying myself as Don Franco Tafari, the last king of Mutapa. So now the kingship is now upon me. So as reggae people, I think we still stuck on that thing of like, I can make it on my own. No man better than me, trendsetter. Being real is the best thing. Like, I think most of the times we're not real. So we borrow the sound, we borrow even the lyrics. You might get a hit.
Blessed lights, greetings once again, and welcome to another interesting episode of your program, Reggae Connects Africa. I'm your host, Rico Myers, and today with me in the studio, I've got a very special veteran that I hold dear to my heart, an artist par excellence, CEO, big time hustler, Africa. Welcome, the one and only Monomotapa, Don Franco. Greetings.
Greetings, blessings,
Everything
blessings.
blessed, my lord.
Everything blessed, brethren.
Greet the people.
Rastafari.
They are watching.
Yeah, me know people. From you see the face, you know, say it's a man Don Franco Tafari, the Mutapa warrior, the Mutapa prince, now the Mutapa king. Blessed love, Rico. It's ira to be here. It's nice to be here.
Respect. Selassie, you
Bless
know.
up.
So you say it on your own that you were once the prince. Now
Yeah.
you are a king.
Yes,
you can't
definitely.
stay a baby forever.
Definitely.
Take us through that kingship journey. What is Monomotapa? Why do you call yourself Monomotapa? And where is the growth?
All right, that's a very complex question, but I'm gonna break it down. You know, outside me being a musician, I'm a very spiritual person, and a lot of things just connect naturally. So when things happen, I just wait for the universe to connect all the dots for me. So what happened before I came to South Africa when I was in Zim, I used to go to the house of Rastafari called Monomotapa House of Rastafari, which was Monomotapa House of Rastafari.
Zen.
So basically what happened then was when I came to South Africa, I'm doing reggae music now. The first project that I do is a project that features the Sizzlers, the Fantan Moja, and the everyone. I get the rhythm and I'm supposed to voice, and somehow I'm not connecting with the rhythm. So I tell the producer and I'm like, you know what, just keep the rhythm. And then he says, this rhythm is going to change your life. What I want you to do is I want you to dig deep into your African roots. And then whatever that you bring out of your African roots, it's going to be unique on the project. So I went home, I sat with the rhythm, I think for 2 weeks. Then one morning I came up, went to the producer and I said, I have something. So I started saying, this is Don Franco Tafari from Monomotapa, Zimbabwe, you know?
Yeah, man.
So now there was now the connection of myself saying, I'm from Monomotapa. So me being Moyo Chirandu, the builders of the ruins, I went back
Great
home.
Zimbabwe.
The great Zimbabwe. So I went back home to my grandfather to fully understand
Who you are.
and also why this thing was resonating within me. Everywhere I go, the Monomotapa was following, and it did not make sense.
The ancestors were calling.
Exactly, outside the just the educational institution. So I met the grandfather. Grandfather now tells me to say no. At a certain period of time, after the destruction of the Great Zimbabwe, when the vendors moved as well southwards to Beitbridge and current,
Kapongogwe.
exactly, we also had a great number that moved to the Eastern Highlands. That included my grandfathers, my great grandfathers, and they were in the line of kingship, but they did not want anything to do with the kingship because within the kingship line, people were killing each other for power. So my great grandfather just said, I'm leaving, I'll go and establish myself. And then he changed his surname to what it used to be so that he can live there. So now everything was connecting. So as everything was connecting, now I had to learn who I was myself. In learning, it was more of me digging deep into the spiritual. So now that's where came the prince. So I started, before being the prince, I was the shepherd. It was me who was shepherding the people. Even the message that I had, it was bringing about shepherdness amongst the people, and I was doing more of the shepherd's work. Then from there went on to, now I have to play a different role, which is the rulership role. But you can't be a king before you're a prince, before you're a regent. So I become prince now. This is the prince within my office as a musician, as a psalmist. So I'm the prince, I'm doing the father's work. But at the same time, as a prince, again, remember, you go to battles.
You do.
So you're also a warrior. I'm the Mutapa prince. At the same time, I'm the Mutapa warrior. So it depends what office I'm in, the way that I was operating. Then up until last year now, I get into the kingship now. This is now the ruling now. I get into the kingship. That's why you always see me. I'm always having gold. And I'm sure, Rico, you know that in Zim, if you're a chief or a king, it's signified by gold. They have gold. Nowadays, you might find bronze because of whatever is happening, but you always have this. And even during the Great Zimbabwe time, when they called the Great Zimbabwe, they used to call it the King Solomon's mines were there because of the amount of gold that we had. So now as I get into the kingship crown now, I start identifying myself as Don Franco Tafari, the last king of Mutapa. So now the kingship is now upon me. And
so after you, there is no one.
After me, there is no one. The lineage is
so the king is not giving birth to anyone, because now remember, if you are a king, then it means there must be a queen.
Yes,
giving birth to another prince and princesses. So why do you want it to end by you? Because if you are calling yourself the last one,
because basically where I am, I don't want anyone to go through what I'm going through.
Okay.
What the people see, they just see me as the Mutapa going out there and me happy, me sharing jokes. This is me just trying to find some form of balance, because outside the political side where you have to represent the kingship within myself, there is the deep spiritual part, you know. There are things that you start seeing in the spiritual realm that you can't explain, that even amongst people, you start seeing things that people might not understand. And it's a lonely world, you know. It's a very dark world. I'm that person that even if I'm supposed to do collaboration with an artist, if we don't operate on a certain frequency, we can't do it, you know, because I operate more on the spiritual than on the physical. So that life itself, in me embracing it and spending so much time in the spiritual, I wouldn't encourage it on anyone.
All right. Blessed love, you know.
Blessings.
And you talking about the struggles.
Yes.
Now, so with you being a spiritual person like that,
yes,
being African,
yes,
you know, and then you come from Zimbabwe, you come to South Africa. Yeah. The program here is Reggae Connects Africa, and we want to find out from you. What then made you say, I want to sing reggae?
All right. Same as everything else, I think it was just a divine calling. I was very fortunate that I come from a family of musicians.
Okay.
My grandfather on my father's side, on my dad's side, the one that I share a name with as well, he used to belong to a band. Okay. Though it was a jazz band called the Movie Stars. That was in the 1960s, you know. So he had a lot of portraits in the house. So every time we'd go to the rural areas, we'd always see these things. And I always asked my grandfather, you know, how it was like just performing during that time, the colonial era and everything, you know. And at the same time, again, on my mother's side, my uncle, a very educated person, he goes to England, studies in England, then comes to Ethiopia, studying in Ethiopia. Bob Marley travels to Ethiopia. Bob Marley travels to Ethiopia, he doesn't have a band, but he needs to do a show. So he puts together session musicians. My uncle gets to be one of those people. So he plays for Bob Marley.
Respect.
You know, so he plays for Bob Marley in Addis Ababa. You know, I'm sure that the portrait is very popular in Zim. That's my uncle, that's my mother's brother. So now growing up, I'm growing up in a family where my mom is telling me that if you're taking music, it has to go beyond these levels. Because these are the people that came before you. It has to go beyond these levels, you know.
True.
But growing up, we had so much reggae, and I felt like I was being forced to be in reggae. But when you're young, you need the pop culture. So I gravitated more to dancehall, and I ran away from reggae. Because reggae was, every Sunday, my old man would be out there burning his spliff.
Religiously.
He was he was in the army. And you know the Zim army guys and the spliff. So he's burning his spliff. And, you know, my mother is always fighting him. Hey, can you put out that smoke? Hey, it smells. And, well, you know. And there was reggae. We had our Eric Donaldson. We had our Gregory Isaacs. We had the Black Uhuru and all of those things. So I ran away from those things. And I went into dancehall, you know. And when I was in high school, boarding school, we were all dancehall. You know, the up close and personal way, what.
Redeem time.
Redeem time, my king. We're down to it. And during that time, again, I started doing music. In fact, before I went to boarding school, in primary school, started doing music. So the people that knew me from there knew me as a musician. But I was also an academic.
All right.
And I could balance it very well. And people couldn't understand because people used to say that these are stuff that you do in the poverty, it's associated with drugs. I was killing the school.
I wanted to come to that, that the way you name your songs, even the album Son of Sam, where does that come from? Legion 16.
Yeah. Eddie, my manager, can tell you, Luckily enough, I've got two managers, the balance, the feminine and the masculine.
Respect.
But anyways, they can tell you that I'm that person that wakes up at one morning and I will tell you that I got this message in the spiritual world and I don't know what it means, but I'm fasting so that I get the full revelation of what it means.
Meditation.
This is how these things are dropped to me. So even the album that I'm dropping, I got the revelation the beginning of December. And I told people to say, up until a certain period of time, I don't want shows. Let's cancel everything. I want to fast, And I started fasting until the revelation. That's when I got the album that I'm dropping called The Return of Guru Uswa. But when you look at Guru Uswa in history terms, this is the source where all the Shona people came from. And it was said it's between Sudan and Ethiopia, somewhere there about, no one really knows because then we didn't have borders.
Yes.
But this is where all the Shona people come from, Guru Uswa. So the message had something to do with that. It was the first message that came to me was the 7 letters to the 7 rulers of the Mutapa kingdom, And then I told people just said, because my people now understand me, the spiritual side. Then they said, my king, do whatever that you have to do. As we're waiting on the business side of things, the artistic, the spiritual side, that's your side. So I got the return of Guru Uswa without the track listing. The track listing will come the same way. So basically, that's how things happen to me.
All right. Respect, Reggae Connect Africa, this is your program. Find us on email, reggaeconnectafrica@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook. Follow the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and make sure you get notified. With me in the studio one more time is Don Franco Tafari. So now, my king, the question that I want to ask you now is, what struggles is reggae having in Africa? So now we know that reggae is more from Jamaica. When it hits Africa, Zimbabwe, for you, and now you're here in South Africa, what struggles as a young reggae artist, what struggles do you face?
I think the biggest struggle that, because I'm going to speak on my behalf and my views,
Experience is the best teacher.
Okay, for example, when in Zimbabwe, when we started having Zim Dancehall,
yes,
what made us gravitate to Zim Dancehall the most was because we were saying, these are our people, they are speaking our story in our language.
It's our thing.
So we gravitated to it. Same as you, if you can look at even the reggae music within South Africa, the masses, they gravitate more to the songs done in Vernac than they can to the songs that are done in Patois. The reason being, when you get to a certain level of production, you start being seen on the same level with the Jamaicans. And you have to be good. You have to either beat them or be on the same level, which is almost impossible. Even though you have people outside Jamaica like your gentlemen that have been able to do it.
Your J-Boogs.
Yeah, your J-Boog. Yeah, we have people like that. But basically, I think that as reggae musicians, sometimes we don't create things that can relate to a 15-year-old boy who's in Val, to a 15-year-old who's in Soweto. We have to find ways to create art that relates to the people. Because, for example, if I can't go out there and do a song and say, Managalis, I'm single, my king. I don't even have an empress. I'm saying Managalas. The ladies are running away from me, my king. How can someone relate? But if I go there and then I'm like one of my favorite artists is Bongo Riot. When I listen to a song like Ndlozilami,
yeah,
there is power there. There is, irregardless of the lyrics, the way that it's structured, the vocal power that comes there, even when he's performing, the stage presence that comes there, you feel proud as a black man, you know. So we need more of such sounds that can make us feel proud, you know, where you feel like, oh, okay, now I feel this is where I am, you know, this is where I am. Because even when we collaborate with the Jamaicans, they don't want us to bring a certain art. They want us to bring, and I learned this way later. That's why you see the last track that I did, Rise with Turbulence, I went so much into the Zim story, and I even did it in Shona.
Yes.
It's because I know that when it plays, a ghetto youth in Zimbabwe would come and be like, was that Shona? Let me replay. Because people might not know Don Franco, but let me replay. What is he saying? You know, so that it can, I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have. For example, again, I can go to Ghana.
Yes.
Shatta Wale was in Jamaica. Shatta Wale has songs that are very big that he does the Jamaican way. But which song did he go and perform at Carter's thing? Afrobeat song.
Afro.
2 days later on, that song was trending everywhere.
Huge.
Even in Jamaica, they're like, we didn't know that there's an artist like this. If he had done his patois, hardcore Jamaican songs, people were still going to compare him with Alkaline or Cartel.
And you wouldn't cut that.
You can't. So I feel that we need to come closer to home and get the inspiration from the ground. The struggles we have, fighting the police for Insango, even though it's an international thing, but we have to relate it in our African way. You know, be it Venek or even in English or even whatever that we do, but we have to bring in something that people can relate to.
So you are saying that the problem with reggae that is in Africa now is the lyrics.
Yes.
People are singing about the lifestyle that is happening in Jamaica, in America, yet you are in Durban.
Exactly.
You are somewhere. You are somewhere.
A gun.
Home.
You've never seen a gun, my guy. You run away when you hear a siren of an ambulance thinking it's the police. Now you're talking about busing a gun, my guy King. You know, that's the problem that we're having. We can't relate.
So if an artist goes into the studio, you've worked with Jamaicans, Turbulence, I've seen you with him.
Yeah.
So if an African artist goes, an African reggae dancehall artist goes into the studio and he wants to record his lyrics and he starts singing those kind of lyrics, what advice do you have to the producers? What can you say to them that, no, Mr. Producer, are you just going to take money and record? Or, Mr. Producer, tell the artist?
Yeah, that's a very tough one. But I feel that the producers are very much responsible for what comes out of the studio.
Yes.
You know? I've had certain producers that will actually be like, you know what, whatever that you're creating now, it's just not it. I know you can do better, you know. But I've had also certain producers that will say, you're Don Franco, let's just record. Let's just record. But when you listen to it, you're like, hey, here, I should have done this, I should have done this. You can feel that this was an off key. But the producer says, you're Don Franco, let's just do it. Record, you know, and it becomes a problem. I think that sometimes the producers can actually give direction, you know, give direction to say, can you move towards this direction? Can we create something towards this direction? Who's the biggest Zimbabwean artist in South Africa right now? Not right now, who's known so much. That's Oliver Mtukudzi.
Yes.
And Oliver Mtukudzi created his own art. If you look at
his
it...
own sound.
Exactly. When did he create it? In the 70s. When did he bust? Around 2000.
Yes.
That's close to about 30 years in the business. And I watched the interview that you did with Perfect. I started following Perfect around 2005. You know, when he did his song, Handcut Boy.
Yeah.
2005, this is when I was following him. And he only comes here now. So basically, it's things like those that producers can push you in an angle. People might not connect there and there. But time is the master. Time is the greatest master. There will come a certain time when those people will be like, that's real art, you know. And I think producers need to direct and mold this thing that we have.
And not just have some half-baked content that you now want to force people to accept and say that, okay, me, I'm good.
100%. Because, you know, the advantages that I've had is with my creativity, I record a song almost every day. Some songs, I don't release them because I use them as outlet. You know, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do anything. So I use them as an outlet. Sometimes when I'm very low or when I get hurt, Eddie can call me and be like, record a song, King. Don't stress, record your song. And then I record a song. When it comes out, there are certain songs that we look at and we're like, Yeah, this one, you were just expressing your emotions. We can't put it out. Let's just keep it in the machine. Maybe one day we might have to change the chorus or what, you know. But that's the quality control that is needed. But it can actually be fixed during creation with the producer to say, hey, here, let's fix it this way. Let's create it towards this direction. You know, let's do it this way.
So then now that becomes now monetary.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the right monies
Yeah.
to have the right kind of product out there, it becomes a problem for you.
100%.
We've seen you the past couple of days, you know, private jets, bikers, good cars, good everything for the video. So now, when you come to a production level like that, what budget do you need?
I don't want to lie to you. All the videos that I've done in the past, they were very big budget-wise, but mostly the budget is in terms of traveling. So you'd literally find me saying that, okay, we really need Senegal. And then we'll travel to Senegal because we need that feel. We need to be on the ground. You know, if you check Son of Sam, the first one, the first track, we recorded it in a mosque. You know, you know, that's how much I value art, you know. So in this one, what we're trying to show to the people is because many people always say, hey, that Rasta likes bling. Hey, that Rasta, what. People talk, you know. People talk.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
That wears the crown, you know. People talk. And what we were trying to create, so December at the beginning, I said, I want to create a king, an African king who's living in the now, but who has the mindset and everything of the ancient times. So in the video, you see me wearing the traditional robes, and I'm wearing this like I'm living in the 17th, in the 18th century, you know.
But you are now.
But I'm in now. So that's where you find the private jets, you find the limos, you find the what. So I'm trying to show the people that when we say be rooted and grounded as a black man, we're not simply saying go back and live in those times because everything has changed, you know?
True.
We're saying let the mindset go back to that certain time to say, but how did we start to say this wave looks beautiful? You know, like exactly
when did it start?
When did it start to be beautiful? When we have these kinky hairs, you know, that we look at and be like, damn, that's the royal African black queen, you know? So this is like trying to put that whole mindset to say, we might be here. Because people always love to say, time change. Oh, time change. Aibo, time might change. I don't want to change.
I don't want to change.
You know, I might see everything changing around me, but my mindset still remains the same. If I say this, I can't do. No matter what I go on, I can't do. A frog in South Africa is a frog in the US. If I go to the US and I tell them I don't eat meat,
what if a princess comes and kisses the frog and the frog turns into a king? How do we know? So because growth is inevitable. Now my other question that I want to ask you now is on a production level, when you look at South African reggae, top 5, who would you want to record with?
Frankly speaking, I want to work with almost everyone. But like I said, my work is more spiritual. So I just wait to get the right song and be able to connect with the people. But I love so many artists, you know. Like if I'm to pick 5, it will be very tricky. Because like I said,
Let's say we want to do an EP for a project that's coming in 2 weeks. Just 5 reggae artists here in South Africa. Remember, you've got a journey, a story to tell coming from Zimbabwe, and you're doing reggae in South Africa. Yeah. You've done collabos with Jamaicans that I've seen. So I'm saying with the 5 reggae, Mzansi reggae artists.
Okay, so basically, if I say these 5, it doesn't mean they're the best.
It's just you. No, we're not talking about being the best. I'm saying, because remember, you're saying that at the end of the day, when you are going into recording, the producer, it's a good budget.
Yeah.
The videos, it's a good budget. That's what I'm saying now. So if I'm to say that, okay, Don Franco, you know, you've got 5 artists that we just want you to do 5 collabos with 5 Mzansi reggae. We're not saying the best. Who is gonna quickly be like, okay, let me do it with this, let me do it with this, let me do it with this. We won't ask you why. We just want the top 5, your top 5.
Okay, yeah, I might say why, maybe on some. Like, like as I said, I'm very much inspired by Bongo Riot. I like Bongo Riot.
You got Bongo?
And before I left Zim, when I was still in Zim, like as early as 2006, I was listening to Live and Learn Black Dillinger. So
You got Black Dillinger.
And when I came to South Africa, he's the first person that gave me a platform to say, when he was performing, he said, I saw a youngster from Zim jump on stage.
Come.
And I'll always be able to cherish that. And I've got Luwe the Lion. I connect with his spirit on so many levels. We talk on WhatsApp. We've done a song and we never released it because I just feel that it's not time, but I connect with him on a much spiritual level. And then I've got Anela. Anela is a spiritual woman as well. She's one lady that I can talk to maybe for an hour and we're just talking music in general, nothing else, and we just talking. And then that's 4. And then there is Percy Mkwevo, Colbert's son.
Colbert.
I like his style. I feel that it can blend well with my style. Percy, I follow his artistry. I like what he stands for, and I like what he puts out in the music. If you say 5, I can pick up those ones.
Yeah, respect. So that's your 5. All right. So now when we get out of South Africa, now the whole of Africa, which countries would you want to go and do reggae? Okay. There we won't talk about the artists. Which countries would you want to go and do reggae and leave a footprint?
Okay. Last year we had the privilege of having one of our songs, Hail Shaddai, being played in Sierra Leone. And it wasn't just someone playing it there and then saying, this is a brand new, like what people do. It was in a club and the people were singing along. The people knew the song, And they reached out and they said, when you do the African tour, pass through, And we're ready to put everything in line. I would really love Sierra Leone. That's one. I would really love countries that don't have so much of reggae, but they've got a unique culture. Countries like your Chad, The most popular reggae ones, these ones, I've been to them. I don't mind going back to them even 20 times. But I would like to try a country like Chad. I would like DRC as well because. And then Tanzania as well. They like one of my songs, Dark Skin Girl. They've reached out a couple of times as well. We're trying to see what we can put together with the whole management. And what else? And then the other one that is closer, that I've been dying, is Botswana. I'm not lying. Like, I don't know why it keeps, like, if everyone always asks me to say, you've gone far, and everyone keeps going to Botswana. Why is it Botswana? And I'm like, hey, I'm just waiting for the time. Hey, when it knocks, I'm already there.
Remember, this is a program where we're going to be breaking those barriers and going. So Botswana, the king has spoken. Botswana, the king is camping. I know, Botswana, you're going to be so edutained by the king coming into you.
Botswana, we have
Reggae Connects Africa. This is the show,
Yeah.
So thank you, Don Franco. My other question now, reggae, it's being used as an instrument, as a tool, to take the black man's story. Yeah. And there is so many things like what they say, Babylon, that is there, Why is reggae not get your songs? We don't find them on mainstream radio channels. Why is it that?
I also think the problem comes back to us as reggae musicians, myself included as well. I'm still learning. I'm trying also to understand how things are done professionally. Outside the messaging that we have to package our art in a certain way that it becomes very easy for them to reject. If you look at reggae music, the same thing that is happening now happened during Bob Marley's days. Remember those brethren had to go with AK-47 to radio stations?
Yeah, it's a play this.
They play this, And also, they created a platform in which they were not playing reggae, but reggae became so big in the streets. And right now, if you can look at it, radio right now gets their content from social media. So us as reggae musicians, I feel that the most important thing that we need to do is to make reggae be big on the ground, be it in the garrisons where we stay. Imagine if a reggae show can fill up a stadium in Soweto.
Yes.
Do you think radio is going to ignore that?
They can't.
They can't, because Lucky
can't.
Dube was banning the same Babylon, but they were playing him, you know? So after when we've done that, that's where we need to package it. By packaging it, I mean, it's very important for an artist to have a team. Because now I've grown out of just being Don Franco. The Don Franco that would just get to an event there just to watch other artists and I don't have transport and I'm saying, Rico, can you drop me in Joburg? You know, I know it's now a company that has directors inside there. You know, I have people that I might deal with my creative side of things, but there is the business and the PR side of things that have got people that deal with that, you know. So as artists, we need to have people that can package us, brand us in a way that if we're approaching 5FM, they can be like, okay, no, we need to listen to this. That comes even from the artwork, that comes from even the way that we present, the videos that we present. That whole thing of saying we are rastas, hey, just take the camera, switch it on. Here, right now, we're shooting a music video. We need to get out of that whole situation. Quality. We need to package our brand
nicely. Move with the
times. Exactly. Have, what do you call this thing? Have booking contracts, have collaboration contracts, understand the split sheets, understand what Capasso does, understand what Samro does. This information is everywhere, even on the internet. We need to look at these things so that we can approach this thing on a business level. Because there are certain proposals that you can't deny. You look at Don Franco, he's filling up a venue in a stadium in Tembisa. He comes with a proper team here that they've got a proposal. Are you going to deny? You can't deny. So as reggae people, I think we're still stuck on that thing of like, I can make it on my own. No man better than me, trendsetter. Trendsetter? 50 years can come and you're a trendsetter doing nothing,
you
my
can
leader.
never do it alone.
You can never do it alone.
You can't 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 do it
so
alone.
This is the message to everybody out there from the king himself. He's saying that with reggae artists, make sure you know your language. Make sure you move with the times. The information is out there. Reggae Connect Africa, we are there dotting those lines and making sure that you know what is going on the ground. I've seen you going to do shows in places where too many promoters don't go. So now you are not a promoter, but when you take your time to create an event like that for yourself and you take it to an area, why do you target that certain area and why are promoters not going to those areas that you as an artist, you end up going to do works?
Yeah, like I did say, my things that I do, they're a bit spiritual. So if the word keeps telling me to say, put together something and put it there, you know, you might try to explain it to someone and they might not fully understand. Because one thing that I've seen is South Africa has so many reggae people. Look at what happened when Burning Spear came through. Empress Palace, the parking was full everywhere. We saw the whites, we saw Indians. Where are those people when we do our shows?
I saw the last time when Junior Gong came.
Exactly. Where
they
are those?
Come out.
They came out in numbers. Where are those people when we do our shows? That simply means even when we do our shows, we only target certain sections. So right now on a Sunday, when you drive through Tembisa, you hear them playing reggae. You do an event, they don't come. You know, it's because we're not packaging it properly. We have the people that are willing to hear this message, the new music, but we're not really targeting certain places.
What do we need to do?
We need to...
What do we need to do? Now, let's talk about that.
Because when it comes to the ground, when it comes to doing work from the ground, there is so much risk. We need to do certain things where we're willing not to make anything or even run on a loss. You know, and people are not willing to do those things. If you look at one of the biggest reggae festivals in the world, Reggae Garants, I think it's doing, it's 7 days of non-stop reggae. Artists can perform as long as 1 hour set each. But when you look at when did they start? They started, I think, about 30 or more years
ago.
And they will tell you that at first they didn't have sponsors. And the place that they picked up was in the outskirts. Zero money. Next year, zero money. Only started making money on the 7th year. How many of us as black brothers, can have the patience to wait for 7 years, or to have a plan to actually sit down to say, this is what we want to accomplish after a certain period of time. If you look at my art as an artist, when I got into the game, when I said I want to start doing it professionally, I had a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan.
All right.
The 5-year plan is done. I did my collaborations. Right now, if I'm doing any collaborations, don't expect me to do those big collaborations with Jamaicans. It was within my 5-year plan, and I did it. You understand? So now with my management, now this is where we sit down. I lay out my 5-year plan. They lay out their 5-year plan. We look at it. We don't mind the losses that we're going to engage within a certain period of time. Maybe we might say 3 years, it's losses. We don't mind. We're still good because we know our targets. After 5 years, come back to our drawing board.
People want to make money now.
That's the problem. Because when you want to make money now, you won't really make the money. Because you're rushing. You just want to come with half-baked. Because when I look at myself, I believe that I'm on 40% artistry to where I want to be. 40%. Hence, you would find in my management team, I've got a creative director, because I feel that if I want to say I know it all, and I want to say my music video, I'm just writing, I'm just blah, 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 it's not going to get there. So I feel in my artistry, I'm on 40%. And as long as I'm on 40%, I don't mind when I meet Rico and Rico is like, Don is the king. Don is the king. I'm like, give thanks. Look at Bob Marley. He would do a flawless show. You ask him, that was nice, Bob Marley. He would say, we still can do more. Because only Jah is perfect, So when we move like that, if I'm looking at myself at 40%, I'm okay. If I don't get a booking, Rico, I'm not one of those people that will go on Facebook and be like, why are they not booking me? No, sir. If I'm hot, no one is going to deny something that is hot.
Knocking themselves.
They will come knocking. And when they come, I have my price. That's why you find out that per year, I might actually do 3 or 4 international shows. You might find me in Ethiopia. You might find me in Canada. You might find me in Senegal. You might find me. And then afterwards, I come back, I chill. If I don't have something that is hot, that is making me to go and perform at a certain place, it simply means I'm still lacking.
I've seen that. I'm glad because I was going to come to that. Yeah. I've seen there is artists that do that.
Yeah.
Local.
Yeah.
Africa artists.
Yeah.
That only go and perform overseas and come back and chill. Why is it that? Because remember, you were saying that your own people at home are the ones that are even supposed to embrace you first.
100%.
So why is it that a reggae artist can just leave the African soil, go overseas, perform, and come back home and make it look like it's okay?
This is a very emotional thing because...
hence we're talking Reggae
Exactly.
Connects Africa. If we are not going to talk about it, you see what's happening now since you are in that kingship.
Yes, sir.
You are the ones that are going to be talking to the people. Somebody's going to be listening. Yeah. Whether it's going to be today on this podcast or it's going to be sometime later. So the kind of information, because we've seen your working, that's why you are sitting here. Yeah. You can see that, okay, there is proper administration and everything into it. But now, if you as a reggae artist are going to be here, then you go, you perform overseas, and you come back home and you chill.
Okay, let me answer it. The most difficult thing, and I think also that's my strength, is the fact that I come from Zim. When I left Zim, I was a musician that was known within a small section because I had my first song when I was in high school recorded. But I'm coming from a very small town, even from Zim. I come from Kwekwe. Kwekwe is very small, so obviously the people that stay in your neighborhood know you that you're an artist. I come to South Africa. South Africa, unlike Zim, you can't pay so much time to the art. You have to earn. You have to make a living.
True.
So I come here, and later on when I start making music, the people that I see in South Africa who are Zimbabweans, the ones that are supposed to embrace me first, they are homesick. So what do they want? They want something that reminds them of home.
True.
They want the latest slang in Bari right now.
True.
They want everything that can remind them of what's
Lingo.
happening in Zim. Exactly. You understand? These South Africans, they look at you as a foreigner. They are putting you where they are putting Sean Paul. They're saying we're growing homegrown art. You understand?
I get you.
So what does that push you to do? it pushes you to be better. It pushes you to be on that international level. You understand? But when you're at that international level now and you want to go back to Zim, they say, maybe he's using money to try and come back here because they can't relate with you. Because remember, every country,
it's got its own flavor.
Exactly. People like someone where they can see the struggle. When they see Killer T, they like to show the pictures when he was struggling, where he is, and when he's going. When they see Winky D, they have those pictures. But if they did not see your sufferation in the ghetto,
they can't talk
they
about
see
it.
you now. You are on tour with Jesse Royal in Ethiopia, and you're filling up a stadium. There are placards written, "Don't Franco Tafari." They don't know you. What's your story here? You understand? You come back to South Africa as well. They can't relate to where you're coming from. The same way that I was telling you that the people where you grow up from, they connect with you more. South Africans, you can't blame them. Because if I'm going to sing in Spedi and I'm staying in Polokwane, the people I went to school with are my first fans. But the people I'm seeing in South Africa, they did not see me in high school. For them to connect with me and know that we know this guy, they can't. So what's my target now? My target is outside where I'm staying, where I come from. So when these people that look at art, irregardless of do I connect with them, but they look at the whole artistry, you'd find a promoter in Ethiopia saying, we want you to come and tour with Protege. That's where you find Don Franco flying, going there. We want you to tour with Jesse Royal. That's where you find Don Franco to go and touring there. We want you to come and open up for Chronics in a foreign land. That's where you find Don Franco going out there. It's because I have to create my art so that it gets on that level. And now that I've done that, I have now to create, because reggae is the one that put me on the spotlight.
On the map.
But I have a lot of artistry within me that now I feel that it's time to be able to dig deep into myself and let other things be known. Because when I saw that they're loving the reggae, I continued putting more pressure. But I'm a creative, I'm a musician, you know. So I remember when I was in Ethiopia, the last show that I did with Jesse Royal, I'm coming off stage. And another lady from Addis Ababa just said, "You're from Jamaica." I said, "No, sir, I'm from Zimbabwe." He said, "No, you're from Jamaica." You know, and some people would love that. But I discovered that, no, that's identity crisis, King.
And
These people must know of King Mutapa, King, man. You know? I went to Kenya. As I was in Kenya on an interview, these people are telling me that the only reggae artist we know from Zimbabwe is Thomas Mapfumo. I know he's not even reggae. I'm telling you the honest truth. And you are the second. You understand now my point. You understand my point.
I hear you.
So you'll find out that when I work on Return to Guru Uswa, the reason why it had to be Return to Guru Uswa and having that Shona connotation in it, it has to dig deep into what we have and then now put the reggae outside and create it with reggae, but also taking the music from my roots, you know? So when I speak about the problems that we're having as reggae music, I'm not spitting fire on the next artist and say, I'm the clean one. I'm also working on myself, King, you know? But sometimes you can't make that gradual, that 360 all of a sudden, because you still have people that are like, yo, say, I still love this song for Mama that is on this project, you know? True. But I feel when people listen to it, people, it's difficult for them to connect to know that you're Zimbabwean. I did Soja in Me. Soja in Me, I saw it when they played it in Italy. They were saying that I'm Jamaican. So when I did an interview with the Italian radio station, they were shocked that I'm from Zim. So when we did the second song with Turbulence, when he said, let's do a second song, I had to put so much Shona and to emphasize on Monomotapa so that people know where I'm from. You understand? So I had to learn the hard way. You know? I had to learn the hard way and find all of these things. So that's the greatest challenge that I have, and that's also my strength. So when people go to the studio and then they record, and me, I come to the studio and I say, we need a lead guitar. Let's call someone for the lead guitar. And the lead guitarist says, I want 1,000. I'm like, I'm broke. I'm going to give you 1,000. Next time we need a bass guitar. People are like, hey, Don Franco is hard to work with. He just doesn't want to jump on a rhythm. It's because I'm looking at where I want to reach, my king. I can't just say these small things that are making people be happy and I'm like, I'm good with it. No, sir. I've toured with the greatest within the reggae, and I've noticed when I did a tour with Turbulence and Mega Banton, I was taught because I didn't know the art of touring. You know, because we're used to that thing of like, hey, Don Franco is opening for Killer T. Then you go
just
there.
Freestyling up and go.
Freestyling up and go. Now you're told now to say, no, sir. Like a movie, you need to have an intro. You need to have the body. You need to have an outro. So I start looking at it. How can I create my intro? How can I create? So all those things I'm still learning. That's why I said I'm on 40% to where I want to go. When I reach 100%, no, not 100%. I can't reach 100%. 70%.
Well, in your capacity.
Yeah, when I reach 70%, you call me and be like, Don Franco, we need another interview. That's when you actually see the changes. So these things that you're seeing and saying, Don Franco, you're doing well, they encourage me. I don't want to lie to you. Reggae Connect Africa.
No, we look at
encourage. Yes,
we see the other things that the other artists are doing.
Yes,
my king. And then when we look at your works, also you can tell that there's that extra touch.
100%.
So we give flowers so that you can smell them. We don't give you flowers and put on your grave. Reggae Connect Africa, we deal with what is happening now, the present. It's what we do, it's what we stand for. So in case you don't know, in case you're joining us for the first time, Reggae Connect Africa, this is it, gmail.com is our email account. We are also on Facebook, Reggae Connect Africa, but also on the YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and please do make sure you tuned in always. With me in the studio today is the one and only Don Franco Tafari, a.k.a. Monomotapa. My next thing to you is, what advice do you give? Because remember, we say that reggae is international.
Yes, sir.
In the reggae circle, the language is you need to get international. Yeah. And then when you go international, you realize that, no, I'm African.
100%.
What advice on a production level, because I know you're also heavy in the production.
Yeah.
What advice do you have to give to the other reggae artists? To say that, okay, when you are doing a song, in as much as we are targeting that international branding and everything, but you are here, what advice do you give to reggae artists?
Basically, I think being real is the best thing. Like, I think most of the times we're not real. So we borrow the sound, we borrow even the lyrics. You might get a hit, but you reach a ceiling. That's life. But when you're real, my king, everyone connects with every song that you've done. I've never heard any boring song from Bob Marley because he was real. When he was hurt, you would hear that, the king here was hurt. There was a heartbreak here, So I believe that people need to be real. For example, me being from Zim, we know the music that we gravitate to that makes us who we are, Find a way to blend it with the international sound, but still creating something that is unique. For example, look at Hugh Masekela. If we're to mute the vocals, you can easily tell that's Brayu there.
The trumpets.
That's Brayu there. You can't. If you go to ancients like your Jabukanyile, mute there. You're like, Platform 1, mute. You can easily tell.
Hear the
you understand? Because they were real to themselves. We're not real to ourselves. Like I was telling you at that time, even when we approach spiritual stuff, it's rare to hear people speaking about ancestors within reggae. But this is our African truth.
You hear Jamaicans telling you that the ancestors are calling.
Exactly. Mama Africa is calling. And we're running away from them.
But we're running away from that. And we want to go and do that,
Exactly. And go there and start hailing. Because, for example, it's rare for you to hear a reggae artist sing about Chris Hani. But they can sing about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey fought for what Chris Hani did. But in Jamaica, for Jamaicans.
Yeah. And here, they're not celebrated within the reggae spaces.
Exactly. Here, reggae was supposed to be speaking about Chris Hani. We're supposed to be speaking about people like Tongo Gara, Nehanda, Kaguvi,
Credo Mutwa.
All
the elders.
Jaja.
Blessings, my king.
Exactly. So this is where we're losing it because we're getting the Jamaican story. In as much as the Jamaicans...
And you've never stayed in Jamaica.
You've never stayed in Jamaica. So what happens is they can connect with us more than if we get to the things that makes us tick. Our own story. Waking up in the morning, the roosters are like, you rise up and mama is telling you that you need to clean. That's our story. That's the African story. That's the motherland. That's the story that people want to hear out there. How many stories do we have? The story of Shaka. It has been like there are so many lies that were published outside there.
But people know the
people
real
know the
story.
truth, the real story. No one is talking about them. How many things do we know of that we don't speak about? To actually look at the fact that at one point we didn't have these borders. If you look at because I'm a reader, I read a lot. If you look at when we're moving from Gurus were coming down, when these people were following the coastal line, when they got down south, they got to King Buthelezi. These people were the Mbizi people, Mbizi. As they were moving there, they moved to King Buthelezi's place. King Buthelezi said, no, stay here and up until you're okay. They wanted to go back to Gurusa to tell them that no, because they had found that the land, now you can't go any further. There's water there. They used the inland now. They were not following the water. They came through Zim. Another one got sick in the Eastern Highlands there. That's where they first established. The Bayerambezi. So these are our stories. Imagine if we're putting them into film or what. But what kind of films do we want? Machine guns and selling cocaine. That's not our story, Jaja. We need to be bringing these African stories.
Black man's story.
Black man's story.
Not his story.
Yes, sir.
It's time we talk our
story. They can't tell us about ourselves more than ourselves.
That's very true.
No, sir. No, sir. They can't. So we have to say these things. We have to connect. We have a lot of people that are getting lost. There is so much that we can do as musicians.
But then how then do you do it? Because with reggae comes dancehall.
Yes.
And you've got an album.
Yeah.
So now within the reggae space,
yes,
you need to talk that story.
Yeah.
And when you do a dancehall track,
yes, do
you still say the same story?
100%, because I've got a song called Mutapa God, and it's the same story. We just need to be very artistic, because I was talking to a musician friend of mine to say the problem that music now has is that is killing the modern sound. If you've listened to modern sound, it's different from the sounds that we used to have, where an intro can go for 16 bars before the vocals come in. Our music, what happens there? Intro, chorus, verse, intro, chorus, verse, outro. Big up the DJ. The song is done. We don't get the time to actually listen to the trumpet on the song. We don't give it time to actually listen to these things. So we have to be very creative. All the elements. Even if it means you're asking someone to do a solo guitar, we want to listen to that thing, the solo. Sungura does it. The bridges, the what. Now everyone that approaches music is the intro, verse, intro. Sometimes they do copy and paste.
Are you saying that we need to go back and start encompassing all the instruments?
All the elements, everything, even the messaging, everything that we want, we can message it. But like your question, what you said, there are certain messages that the instrumental will tell you what kind of message that you can put there. The instrumental itself, it's hard for you on a reggae rhythm to go and be singing about plum, about, hey, girls, strip up your clothes on a reggae instrumental and it's on a one drop. It won't allow you to do that. It won't allow you. So sometimes instrumentals, they can guide you as to what you say. But us as musicians, we need to start being creative. Nothing is wrong in music. If you decide to say, okay, when I get to my song, I want to let 32 bars go without singing, and then I'll just sing 4 lines, and then I'll let the song be done. Release it. Nowadays, we've seen people that can release a song for 1 minute, 24 seconds. Some people can do a song for 7 minutes.
True.
The same people, So I feel that we're not being creative, and I feel that we need to step a bit back to the creation of music, when people were creating passionately music.
You go back to the drawing board.
Exactly. Not this thing of myself going there to say, I need a money song for summer. Then I go and I start looking for that.
They've heard that summer is paying.
Exactly.
They've heard the YouTube is paying. They've heard all these things are paying. So must they ignore the money?
No, this is where you need to understand. If you look at what happens when they say that a musician is depressed or a musician commits suicide, it comes from one thing. You're working with a listener's mindset, thinking they're going to like this sound. That's the pop culture. That's what happens in the pop culture. What's trending? Then you put it there. It might work, but when it fails to work, because everyone knew you were on every billboard, now you start walking, people are like, hey, the last thing that you did, that was work. You understand? What does that do to your mental state?
If you're not strong,
if you're not strong enough. Because you were used to be thinking, if I create something like this, the people will gravitate to it. What of a time when they fail to do that and you haven't maximized on what the people want? So basically, if you look at my song, when I'm happy, Rico, I dance, I jump up. So when you listen to it, you're like, hey, the king here was happy. But when I'm sad, even when it comes to love things the king is not always lucky. So when I'm a bit sad, I record the song. But when you listen to it, the lyrics, you're like, these lyrics are real. Because I remember there was a time when I was recording a track with Shumba and I was singing about my mom. We could not finish recording because I started crying and he was smiling, crying as well.
A big man like you.
Yeah, I was crying and he was crying as well, creating music. And then he says, hey, let's just stop it, And I said to myself, this is real music. So later on when we released the song, there's a lady from Argentina that connected with me. And she said, this song, I don't know what you were going through. And for me, that was a win. I clapped hands for myself and I said, ta, 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 ta. And then I said, that's a win, And that story that you're asking me to say, being embraced in Zim. Recently, someone came to the page and inboxed and said, my king, I didn't know you. I saw the video clip of a video that you shot and I went to look for the music. I don't know why you're not known because you're the greatest, And then I posted it in the management group. And then my manager is like, so what's shocking you? We've always known that you're like this.
That's why.
And then I said, but that's not the thing. The thing is, there is nothing that breaks your heart than knowing that everyone keeps telling you you're good, but you feel that you're not where you have to be.
And there's somewhere that you need to be.
Exactly. Because now you have to call certain DJs to say, hey, please, can you play this song? And they're like, call me after 5 minutes. Then they drop the phone. And the people keep saying, bruh, do you even submit your music? Because if they hear it, you understand my point. Because everyone is telling you you're extremely good. But sometimes they don't know the battles that we go through. Because even radio now, they want what's trending. They don't care. First of all, they need to go and look at, okay, how are the reactions? How big are you? They don't even want to listen to the song first.
Substance.
What is social media saying? So I've actually accepted to say a win for me is changing someone's life. If I have like that lady from Argentina that comes and say, I listened to that song and I dropped tears and I felt I connected with you even if I'm miles away, to me that's a win because I'm doing the Father's work. That's a win. Money that comes is bonus. Money that comes is bonus. Ed likes to say, money will come.
Direct translation. Money is going to come. If you have some little money now, please spend it. Take care of yourself. Do good to thyself. Don Franco Tafari, the last Monomotapa, with us in the studio today. Reggae Connect Africa on our YouTube channels. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button. More progress are going to be coming your way. Reggae Connect Africa at gmail.com is the email address. Reggae Connect Africa on Facebook. We are there, Don Franco. It was a pleasure having you in the studio.
Blessed love.
So the one thing that I love the most, because I'm looking at the time, our time is going.
Yeah.
One thing that I love is whenever an artist is in the studio, we say a cappella. A cappella. Give us something.
Reggae Connect Africa. Selassie tell them centralize, but the Rastafari the king, him not go criticize religion and division they must. So we were sanctified, but by the power of the king and everything them not go set we no believe. All the Pharisees and scribes say me tell you me born, me not go fear anything, we judge a love in me. Me not go need no pastor fi go teach if he praise. For me no sell them a the pastor, them a the lead we astray. We chant on your bingy when the praises come down. We chant on your ingy when the praises come down. Reggae Connect Africa.
Monomotapa. Give us some Shona lyrics. You say your current works, you say that you've gone back to using Shona lyrics, because of who you are and what you believe in, what you stand in. Give us something in Shona also so that everybody knows that Monomotapa.
Vadzimu yendiringe iya onde yaga onde neanda yendiringe iya onde yaga onde varozi vakapera nenda mushaya chirashwa pindirai vari kumepo pindirai vari kudengavo pindirai
Rastafari signing out. Peace.
Reggae Connect Africa.